As you can see, I have taped my watercolor paper down to my board, and now I am starting off with some blue gouache. You can pick whatever color you want for your sneakers, but I'm just starting with 2 lines that go kind of down the middle of my page here, and now I'm making my lines wider by thickening them up with a larger painting of gouache. Notice that the top of these are about halfway down my paper, and then I have a little bit of room along the bottom as well. I'm adding an arch to the bottom of my shapes. This will be kind of where the toe of my shoes go. And then connecting those to my rectangles. Next, I'm going in and adding the tongue of the shoes, and I'm using a darker shade of blue to make a line that goes down the center part of my shoe. And I'm making sure to kind of keep that nice and dark compared to the outside sections. I'm also making sure my outside edges of my shapes are a little darker, so I'm just running through those as well. Now, I did speed up this video just a little bit, so if ever I'm going too fast, feel free to pause so that you can catch up. All right, I wanted to kind of use a grayish color and to make a line that goes across the bottom center of my shoes, and I just mixed kind of a peachish color and a grayish color together. I kept it kind of light. This would be the front part of the shoes. And now I'm going to leave that be so it can dry, and I'm going to go in and start adding some greenery to the top of the shoes. And to do that, I'm just going to use my brush and add some kind of wavy, different kinds of lines that's coming out of the top of the shoe so that it looks like some plants are in there. I don't have any flowers yet. I'm doing the greenery first. I'm just trying to use a variety of greens, throwing in a little bit of blue in there as well to darken the greens in areas. Just kind of dabbing my brush, making some interesting shapes, trying to leave a couple little holes in there so that you can see through the greenery. It's okay if some of the little green spots aren't touching anything, that they're just kind of floating. People will still understand that they're connected to something. It's just very thin something. Next, I'm going to add a shadow underneath the toe of the shoe. And I'm doing that with kind of a very dark blue. You could even use kind of a blue-gray if you wanted. You can see it's blending in a little bit with the toe of my shoe, but I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm going to keep that nice and dark. I rinsed my brush, and now I'm going in with a little bit lighter green. I wanted to add a little bit of highlight to the greenery that's coming out of the top of my shoes. I'm also trying to lighten up the part that was bleeding into the center of the toes. Now I'm going to add some little dashed lines that go along where the light part meets the dark part on the front of my shoes. I'm using basically a white for this dashed line, and I'm going to do it on both shoes. And just a dashed line that goes right down where the light and the dark areas meet. This is to show the stitching of the shoes. I'm also going to use the tip of my brush and some white to make some little circles. These are like kind of like Cheerios. That's going to be where the laces will go into the shoes. And it looks like I'm going to be able to fit about 5 on either side. So it doesn't matter if you have a different number, as long as you have the same number on both sides of your shoe. So I decided that 5 is my lucky number today, and I'm going to add 5 on either side of my shoe. I'm just touching up the toe of my shoes one more time. And now I want to add in the laces. So I'm going to start off with the bottom by making a line across. And then I'm going to go under the blue and over the top to the Cheerio in a diagonal on both sides. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And then I'm going to do the same thing going the other direction. So making sure to have one of the lines be over the top and one be under to make the laces look like they go beneath that flap of the shoe. And then I'm adding the laces just kind of hanging off the side. It's kind of a light blue. If I went white and I had a white background, it would be very hard to see. So I'm using just a really light blue for the laces here, kind of hanging down on the sides of the shoe. Just wanted to touch up some of the lines in here and make sure that you can see them. I also want to add a little bit of white where the toes would go here. Touching up some of these corners to make sure they're nice and clean. And then I'm rinsing out my brush really well so I can add some flowers. You can add any kind of flowers you'd like. You can keep it pretty simple, which I'm doing here by just adding some little like daisy-like flowers. Notice that some of my flowers just float above the greenery, and that is okay too. It kind of gives a nice airy feel. You can use multiple shades of a color. I decided to go more of a yellow with a red center for all of these. And I thought it might be fun to add maybe a couple little red dots, like maybe they're little buds that haven't opened up yet, just to add some more color to the top. Maybe we'll even throw some pink flowers in there. You can do different kinds, different shapes. I like to usually do a couple in clusters. And again, floating above the greenery works just fine. People will still understand that they're connected. We can always connect them later with more greenery too. We'll add brown centers to those. And then I can just connect with real thin lines coming down into the other greenery. You can always add a little more detail in there. A couple little brush strokes. Add some stitching on the tongue of the shoes. A little more shadow to the bottom of the shoes. That really is about it. So you can leave this picture with a nice crisp white background, or if you wanted to get fancier, you could always add a background as well. Maybe the shoes are sitting on a wooden bench or something like that, so you could put wood underneath. I decided that later on to add a nice bright colorful background, so you could really go either way. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.